Greetings, campers, lovers of democracy, theater, film, television, all the performing arts, comedy, music, fighters for democracy, for sexual, social, and political freedom. This is the World According to Yoni, and as ever, I am your host, Yoni Martin. Together, we will try to navigate the world around us, the insanity that we have been dumped into. God only knows why. Um, Again, every week I have to say this, but we have been dumped into a world I can't explain anymore. I can't explain it to me. I can't explain it to you. Um, all I can say is it's insanity. So we'll try to make some sense of it together, I hope. Um, First of all, let's talk about I, I can't I can't call him president. Let's talk about the Tangerine Turds nomination for the Supreme Court. I refer to none other than Amy COVID Barrel, which is the nicest way I can phrase her name. This woman, this person, is a religious zealot. And that says something in this administration. But here's the thing. You want to nominate a religious zealot for the Supreme Court of the United States, somebody who has made their opinions known over a myriad of subjects, and they are all Christian, or I'm sorry, fundamentalist pseudo-Christian opinions. How? And if you understand this, please explain it to me. How can someone who has publicly voiced their opinion on a vast array of topics that are going to come before her as a Supreme Court justice sit in judgment over topics she's already formed an opinion on? She can listen to any oral arguments made in front of her. It won't make a difference because she's already made up her mind. And it's not based on the law. It's based on her, air quotes, religious principles. Except that this country is not a religious country in that it's not Christian, it's not Jewish, it's not Muslim, it's not Hindu, it's not, pick any religion you want. We are a secular nation where everybody is entitled to believe whatever they choose to personally. But the law is based on the law. And judges are expected to make decisions based on the law, not their personal beliefs. Live your personal beliefs. Don't try to make the rest of us do that. And that's exactly what this person would do. So I think this is a disaster. I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg must be looking down going, what the fuck are you people doing? Which brings us to the COVID-19 spread with the White House as ground zero. I don't know what's going on. At first, I thought this has got to be a hoax. Trump doesn't really have COVID-19. But then you see the insanity and the irrationality, plus the fact that everybody else and their brother who was at this nominating ceremony for Ms. Barrel has come down or is coming down with COVID. We don't know 100% because nobody's testing them. We don't even know if Trump has been tested. So I don't know what to say. He's crazy. He was always crazy, but he's even crazier now. And the question is, What do we do about it? Here's a interesting factor, something that I find to be interesting. How do I phrase this? The ignoramus in cheat, which is how I like to refer to him. God knows I have 100 names for him, but that's become one of my favorites. He has no respect for the concept of protecting the American people. But how can we expect him to have respect for the lives and the protection of the American people when he doesn't even have it for those who work with him in the White House? He has none. This whole trip to Walter Reed and then taking the drug, which, by the way, this is one of the most beautiful things ever. The drug he's taken, and I don't have it written down, so I can't remember the name, Regeneron or some crap like that, is made out of stem cells, embryonic stem cells, meaning the fetuses of dead babies. Well, how does this fit in with all you evangelical and fundamentalist, again, air quote, pseudo-Christians who think any form of abortion or anything utilized in medicine by abortion is wrong? Okay, justify this one for me. Come on, you've justified everything else they've done, so why not justify this? The answer is you can't. You'll try to, but you can't, because it's all bullshit. And the fact of the matter is you don't really care. You just figure this guy's going to put a stop to all this liberal, free-thinking, homosexuals want to get married. How dare they? Or people who think democracy means they get to live their lives as they choose, not how you think they should live their lives. Oh, well. So there we go. And meanwhile, around the country, we are having spikes in COVID. Why? Because there's been no leadership, certainly from the White House, on this topic. And really, how can we expect him to protect the American people when he will not protect his own people? He doesn't care. Read me. He does not care about any of us. I don't even know that he cares about his family or his friends. So why should we expect that he would care about us? Why should we expect that he would care about, I don't know, protecting his opponent in the presidential race during their quote unquote debate, when he just doesn't seem to care? And now he's feeling much better. So he is, we're going to play a game here. ¿Quién más mucho? Who is the most macho? The person who says it's all a hoax, refuses to wear a mask, and then catches this deadly disease that's killed more than 210,000 Americans so far with a bullet. And I don't mean a literal bullet, I mean the bullet that keeps rising. But now that he's caught it, he knows everything about it. And he is much more macho than that pansy Joe Biden, who's wearing a mask all the time. I mean, what is it? Fox News is one of their blonde bimbette brigade, in this case, Tammy Lauren. And if I mispronounced your name, I really don't give a flying fuck. Suggested that Vice President Biden carry a purse to go with that mask, intimating that he's effeminate because he's trying to take care of himself and those around him. These are the kind of people we're dealing with. They are sick fuckers. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They are sick and they are twisted and they do not care. I'm kind of wondering now how the millionaires and billionaires who went to Trump's fundraising events uh, when he knew he had COVID but hadn't told anybody are feeling about him now. Um, we are living in insane times, folks. So I'm going to let that stand for the moment. And I'm going to introduce my guest for today. I should say this is the second time I've had this guest on. Only the first time we recorded the interview, we had sound problems. So I tried. I couldn't fix them. So we decided to do it again. And it's okay to do that when you're working with friends, thank God, because they're willing to do it take two. So I would like to introduce my friend, actress, progressive activist, and the co-host of the YouTube sensation cooking show, Corona Kitchen, Debrianna Mansini. You may know Debrianna for her roles in the shows Breaking Bad and its sequel, Better Call Saul. She's toured in a one-woman show that she wrote that unfortunately was going to go to London before the COVID pandemic hit. But now she's stuck at home where she and her friend created Corona Kitchen, which is a wonderful cooking show. They do comfort food, and they have a lot of wonderful guests on to help cook with them. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my friend, Debrianna Mansini.
Okay.
Hi, Debrianna.
Hi.
We're back for take two of this.
Hooray. The second time's always the charm.
Let us hope.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it a third time. Not that I don't love you and love chatting with you, but you know,
We need to move along.
we need to move along. That's right. There are other guests. Frangela wants to come next week. It's, what can I do? We are, by the way, I should tell my audience again, you are the host or co-host of Corona Kitchen, which is, describe it for the gang. Other than being a door.
Yeah, my door. It was a show created out of the pandemic of being caught in lockdown and being an out of work actor and my friend an out of work actor producer. And we both love cooking. So we just said, why don't we just invite people into our kitchens while we're cooking? Because we're all home. And it just kind of took off without us. Just like, woo, because everyone was stuck at home. So it ended up being a lifeline for a lot of people and a place to share and cook and be creative.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've had some damn good recipes going.
Yeah, we've had fun.
And it's like we're switching off guests because, we are the Stephanie Miller Rip-Off Guest Society here.
Oh, no, I've had more than that. So have you.
Oh, I have too, but I mean, come on. I mean, I said to Steph when I got my little chat with her, and I said, I want to thank you for having all these wonderful guests I could steal for my show. And she said, that's okay. I steal all mine from MSNBC.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. I mean, we all know who we want to talk to. It just happens to be the same people.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the interesting people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're super nice. Like everybody's just been so generous. And the interesting thing for us too that I've noticed is that a lot of actors and comedians and musicians and like we're all out of work. So everybody's happy to kind of try and help each other because we're not doing anything right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I wouldn't have guessed, speaking to Michael Cerveris, for example, that this guy is a god of Broadway, and he's like,
there is no Broadway.
Well, and that's what Michael said. But
yeah, we don't know when it's coming back, and I don't mean to say we're not doing anything. My life is devoted to the election. I've been writing, I don't know, I have thousands of postcards and letters and phone banking and text banking, and I'm doing everything I can to work on the election. That has got really, other than Corona Kitchen, my focus right now, and it's just getting more sharpened as we get closer to November 3rd. So I don't mean to say that we're not doing anything. I know a lot of performers actually that are working for this election very wholeheartedly and focused.
Well,
So,
I did a bit, I think 2 weeks ago, where I talked about how I hate politics. You know, I
mhm,
may have been involved in it my whole life, but I don't really enjoy it. It's not,
mhm,
I inherited this from my dad, who was very involved in New York City politics for a long time. And he
mhm.
said it's a dirty game, and it is.
Yeah,
But, you know, as
yeah,
I as I've said before, and I know you feel the same way, this is a life and death situation.
yeah.
We've never
This is
faced.
entirely different. And I'm happy to see people who've not paid that much attention to politics actually wake up to it, because this is the thing. Like, I don't love it either. Like, I don't, people have asked me to run for office because I've been involved in politics all my life. And I'm like, no, you don't want me running for office. I can't
Yeah, I
keep my
feel the
mouth
same
shut.
way.
Yeah, no, no. But I can be helpful, and that's a really good place for me. But also, in large part, the reason why we got here is because Democrats have been very complacent over a number of years, and the messaging that the Republicans pushed out, that there's no difference between the parties, was meant to affect us on the Democratic side, and it
Agreed.
worked. And so to me, the pivotal moment was 2010, when we did not give Barack Obama the Congress he deserved and needed to have. And that
Absolutely.
was the moment they've been working for. The downhill slide started, and it got us to where we are now.
Well, I mean, I think it started long before that, because
Oh no, I'm just saying that was the pivotal
but
moment.
you're right. That was exactly what's led to where we are now. Um, because as the Republicans, or as I like to call them, the Rethuglicans,
Yeah.
you know, took over more and more, and they were smarter than us in that they started infiltrating local elections.
Well,
And
that's because we were asleep.
yes,
We did not message how important the courts were and are.
right,
That, that's been the downfall, that local elections matter, your school board matters, who's the sheriff in your town matters, who's the district attorney in your town matters.
absolutely.
And then it goes all the way up from there, and they've been supremely laser focused on that while we were asleep. So now, I guess, I don't know, I'm just getting that image in my head of Gulliver's Travels, when the Lilliputians have now got the monster and they're all out. So I think the Lilliputians are awake, and I think the overall point I was trying to make is, God willing, we win this election and we are able to take back all three branches of government.
Please,
That is when our work begins.
absolutely.
We must hold the politicians accountable. They work for us. And if we don't tell them what to do as the boss of them, then they don't know what to do and they do what they do.
And
So it's
God
us.
knows what that is.
Yeah, well, we've seen what that is. It's
Yeah.
corporate takeover. It's whoever has the most money wins. And in this country, it's still one man, one vote.
Well,
So,
I mean, for president, it's not even that because of the
well,
electoral
that's
college.
right. So that's one of the things that needs to be on our list that we need to fix.
Yeah, that's
The
right there at
electoral
the top of
college
mine,
must be fixed.
along with
That
the
and
Supreme
the
Court.
Supreme Court.
Yeah,
That those it First, the Supreme Court has to be fixed.
yeah,
They've been spending decades court packing, and then but accuse us of even thinking about it. This is not court packing. This is an appropriate response to the court packing they've done. We now must expand the Supreme Court in retaliation and in correct response to what they've done.
absolutely. I agree 100%. I know people don't like the, people are less angry about it when you say it now, but at the beginning, when we were doing the Nazi Germany comparisons,
Yeah.
when people say, "Oh, come on, it's not like that." Well, yeah, actually, now we've shown that it is. Um,
It starts somewhere. Everything starts somewhere. You don't just wake up to Nazi Germany.
no,
It's I can't remember who said it now. It's going to go out of my mind, but somebody said, I want to say it was it was maybe Mussolini, who said, nobody notices you're plucking the chicken when you do it one feather at a time.
uh, good. It's true. I mean, it's not good, but it's
You
accurate.
don't wake up to a plucked chicken. You
Mm.
have to notice the pieces going in all the way along. And then, and that's why I say we've been asleep at the wheel. So as soon as we are able to take power, we need to correct a myriad of things. But the Supreme Court, I believe, has to be first, because they're getting ready to hear a number of cases that will affect American life, daily life. I think the letter that was written by Alito and Thomas tell you everything you need to know. They don't
Well,
care about precedent. They're there to put back the rules the way they think they should be.
what drives me insane, these people and this Amy COVID barrel have, they, in advance of hearing a trial or somebody, the arguments, they've already decided. They've made
Mm-hmm.
it public. We are partisan. They also do not seem to understand we are a nation of laws. We are not a religious state. We are a secular state.
But they don't
Laws
see it
take
that
precedent.
way. And
No,
they're trying to remake it in our government, make sure that it's aligned with whatever God they think is the God. So that is what they want. That is what they're going to do.
yeah,
It is very clear if you read any of their writings, or if you've watched The Family, that Netflix, I think it's on Netflix, that documentary series,
yeah.
or read the book. They have a plan. Make sure you understand the plan so that you can now work to stop that plan, because they've gotten it way down the line. Like, we're close to the finish line now, like of Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, we're about that far away.
Yeah, we are, for sure. So I really like, now is the time to not wait to see what Amy Coney Barrett, how she might vote. No. You look at the evidence, you see what she's written, you watch what she's done, and understand she will continue to do that. We don't need to wait. We need to fix the court immediately.
I mean, if they have the hearings that Lindsey Graham swears they're going to start next week, the first thing I would want to ask this woman is, you have already pronounced judgment on a number of issues that will be coming before the court. How can you, having done that, sit there as a quote unquote justice and render a verdict that is impartial and fair?
It's not. It's not going to be. Well, here's the other thing. Covita, as somebody called him on CNN, which I thought was hysterical, has been taking a drug that's made from embryonic stem cells.
Thank you. Yes. I've been posting about that on Twitter.
Yeah. Should he go to jail, Amy?
Exactly. I mean, this is the beauty of this thing. They'll bend over for him. They're not going to say anything about that.
Right.
Just like everybody's pretending that son of a bitch has never paid or had one of his minions on his behalf pay for an abortion. Bullshit.
Yeah.
And but they, whoop, whoop, I didn't see a thing.
No,
So,
and the truth is, rich women and men will always be able to have abortions. They will.
yes.
It's the regular folk that get harmed by this.
Oh yeah,
but they don't care.
I was telling my sister-in-law last night. My mother was from the get-go worked very hard for Planned Parenthood. That was one
Mhm.
of her big causes. And she had a friend who was, what are we doing?
Showing
Oh,
you my
there you
Planned
go.
Parenthood shirt.
Nice. I like it.
Uh,
My mother would, rest in peace, would
this
be
is for your
very
mom.
proud of it. But she told me the story. She had a friend who was Catholic who had another friend who was the leader of the local Right to Life organization. Well, when the teenage daughter of the leader of the Right to Life movement got knocked up in high school, she was very quietly taken cross state lines where she had an abortion. Then mama brought her back and went right back to work
Hmm.
for the Right
Yeah,
to
without
Life.
skipping a beat,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the hypocrisy is beyond astounding. Um, I've been using for years the you don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But the other day, somebody posted what I think is even better. You don't bring a butter knife to a bazooka fight.
yeah.
And that's what I think we've been doing up until now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, like, and this is the other thing I always say to the libertarians, we don't even play football without rules. So don't tell me you don't need rules. We do.
Oh,
They,
it's always a matter of what's convenient for whatever argument they want to make at any given time. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't even know what a libertarian is anymore. It used to be a Republican who wanted to smoke dope. Now, I, I have no idea. But by the same token, I have no idea who or what these insane people to the left of me and you, and for I know in my case, that takes some doing to be to the left of me. But this insanity, these purity tests they want, and
Yeah,
the refusal to understand that elections have consequences, and this one has more than any
it's
other.
very grave right now. Yeah, the thing is too, I think that I kept trying to get people who were farther left than me and were saying, that all the boxes weren't checked, as if somebody could actually do all that. And if all your boxes are checked, then maybe some of mine aren't. And don't I count too? But aside from that, like, hello, compromise is the name of the game. We all have to do it because we're not on our own individual islands. That's not how we coexist together. I mean, it's just um, it's selfish at best
At
to
best.
just be voting in that narrow-minded way of I have to be, all of my boxes need to be checked or you don't get my vote. I mean, whoever said that was how people get elected, it's just not. And so what the one thing is, when you don't vote, you are voting.
Yeah.
And we have a two-party system. So I think it's become glaringly obvious that when you throw your vote away on a third party in a presidential election, it's going to one person or the other, and you're still not voting
Yep.
while you're voting. It's just a fool's run to be supporting a third party candidate in a presidential run. That's not where our politics lives.
If we had a different system, if we
Yeah.
had something more like, the British Parliament, this would be understandable. But we don't. And until enough things change in the system we have, we've got no choice but to work with what we've got.
Hmm.
And what we've got right now is a fucking mess. I mean, is there a better way to phrase it?
Not at the moment. Like,
Oh,
shitstorm.
yeah, I mean, okay. This past weekend, the perfect example. Half the people not sure, or more than half the people, I think, not sure. Do we believe that he's got COVID or not? Is it a scam? What's going on? The fact we even have to ask that question
Mm-hmm.
is frightening to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I up until last night, I was still on the fence as to whether he was really sick, other
Yeah.
than in the way
Oh
we
no,
know he's
I
always
wasn't.
been sick. But when I watched him do his Mussolini bit from the portico after he got back to the White
Covita.
House, yeah, Covita, absolutely. And if you watched him, he was gasping for air,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and I was sitting there, I was watching it really carefully, and I could see him going, "Ah," you know. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so this son of a bitch really is sick, but he's going to show everybody, and
People were saying about something about him being addicted to drugs, and that's why he wanted to get out, and blah blah blah. I'm like, don't give him that excuse. The only thing he's addicted to is himself.
yep,
That's it. There
yep.
is nothing else. Donnie loves Donnie. There is nothing else. And Donnie thinks he can beat COVID by just thinking he can. And it was such an interesting, like, as an actor watching him, you could literally see him, the thoughts go through his mind that how he was trying to tough it, like, I am going to beat this and tell you that you can beat it too, and whipping that mask off in the
Oh my
best way
God,
he
that was
could,
that,
given how sick he is.
but that was like the most dramatic moment, and then everybody's
Why
trying.
they follow him on the news is beyond me. They had to know that that's what he was doing. The minute he got out of there, I went, oh, this is a propaganda commercial. You
Of course it
watch.
was. Why do you think he announced hours before
Of
exactly what
course.
time he'd be leaving and
Hmm.
through what door?
And they
Because,
all fell for it.
yep, well, it's our liberal media,
Yeah, yeah, right. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that we can, the thing that swung the election last time were the third party voters, or those people that voted for Jill Stein. Like, she did not lose by that much in key areas. So
I
those,
see. I don't even believe it was Jill Stein. As far as I'm concerned, I believe that those votes were stolen uh,
oh yeah, they were. I mean,
by
there
the
were a whole bunch
Russians, by the
stolen, but
Republican
she did
Party.
get those votes.
Well,
And
yeah.
if people
Oh,
had not voted for her and actually voted for the Democrat, she would have won. That is in addition to the voter suppression they did and whatever all else they did to throw people all off the voter rolls and everything else. But
and are
that was
repeating
just
again
enough.
right now.
Hmm. Yeah, that was just enough. So those third party people, the far left people, they have to get their act together and vote.
Here's the interesting thing. You bring up Jill Stein being, to me, a perfect example. They talk about um, people like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. And, I have my problems with them. They're not perfect, but because Jill Stein throws out a couple of platitudes that sound great, no one, certainly no one on the left, dug into her and looked
Yeah,
to see who she really was.
right.
Had they'd have found out she's a shitload worse than by far Hillary.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much better than Donnie, because could anybody be worse than him? But
Well, I don't, in many ways, I'm not sure. He's a perfect storm of mental illness. He genuinely is. And the thing is, though, and this is what astounds me, is that he's extremely easy to read. There's like, he only has certain plays in his book. But if you continue to normalize him and try and categorize him as like a normal human being, where you keep expecting him to do what the normal people do, you're going to miss the signal every single time. It was not hard to see what he would do. It is not hard to see that he was going to be a crazed maniac at the debate.
well, also you lived in New York for a while, so I mean you got
Well,
to see some of
I
that
was
too.
there.
Were
Didn't
you
like
there?
him then either.
Were you there for the Central Park Five?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I will never, ever
Never forget that.
forget that.
Nobody should have forgotten that.
No. But also, people talk about it because of Mary Trump's book. Everybody's talking about his father now. Well, he was a renowned
His father was still alive.
he was a renowned dickhead.
Yeah.
But people are forgetting that beyond Daddy, uh, Donnie trained at the feet of Roy Cohn, for God's sake. And the playbook that Cohn exercised, ironically, was the Joseph Goebbels playbook, which is being followed step by step
Yep.
by Twitler and his little minion, Stevie Miller, the self-hating
Hmm.
Jew. So, I mean, I don't understand how you can watch this if you have even a partial amount of cognizant brain power
Right.
and be taken in by this bullshit.
I don't either. Just if you didn't watch Fox News, of course that's a hard problem to overcome. But just
Yeah.
even watching him, and I actually think that's what the debate did. People watched his behavior uninterrupted, without commentary. You could just see that he was acting, any parent knows, he was acting like a petulant 3-year-old child.
That's an insult to 3-year-old children,
And
by
that
the
is
way.
an insult to 3-year-old children. But you know what I mean? That was the temper tantrum. Yeah, any parent could recognize it. Any teacher could recognize it. Anyone who's dealt with kids on any level could see it.
Well,
And
because he couldn't do what he did with Hillary, like go behind and pace behind
right.
Joe. So what he did is interrupt him every 5 seconds, so he couldn't get a statement out. When Biden finally told him to shut up, I was like, "Oh my God, thank you,
You know
thank
what though? You know what it reminded me of, and this is what I kind of wish could have happened.
you."
My friend had a kid who used to throw a temper tantrum fairly regularly, and would sometimes do it while we were shopping. And she would start screaming in the store, and her mom would be like, "Oh, please stop," and no, please, people are gonna, and just sort of be enabling. So one day I had it. I turned around and started screaming right back at her. It got right in her face, and it freaked her out, and she shut up and just looked at me, and I said, "That's what it feels like. Now stop it. Nobody wants to hear this."
Oh,
and
that's
and
right.
she stopped, and she never did it again. So part of me was like, I wish Joe had turned around and went, "Ah! Now will you stop it?" Because that's what you look like, you maniac. Stop it. Act like an
Well,
adult.
what's nice though is this time it didn't work for him. People
No,
watched it and said,
overall, no, he never stopped. He thought it did.
"Yeah,
And I think people on the outside were afraid it did work.
but it didn't."
Yeah, I mean, didn't. And the
So,
other thing was interesting to me to see the senior vote move after that
mm-hmm.
debacle. And somebody commentated and said it's because seniors remember. We have the history to understand what presidents are supposed to look like and how people
And
should
sound like
behave.
and do.
Yes, yes, and what decorum is, and like that, you're setting the example. And you know what? People just got sick of it. I don't want that example being set anymore. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Anybody who can make you nostalgic for Richard Nixon,
I know.
uh, it's like, and I'm going to wipe away a tear now because you said the senior word.
I know, or George Bush. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I just want George back. This is terrible. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
I miss Dick Cheney and his heart of gold. Oh my God, give us the neocons who are behind the Lincoln Project, are doing some of the best.
Hey, listen, I always say this: any port in a storm, and this is a shitstorm. But
Absolutely.
lest we forget who they are. No. After the election, that's when our work begins.
Yep.
our work begins, because they're still there.
I agree. I agree.
They're
Um,
not our friends.
they've never been
This
our
is any
friends.
port in a storm. You know what? Here, I have a question for you. Have
Ask.
you, since bringing up the Lincoln Project,
Yeah.
have you seen any, have they put out any ads against Mitch McConnell?
I don't think I've seen any, come to think of it. And there you go. That right away should
I
answer.
mean, I know they've attacked Lindsey Graham, but essentially, Lindsey Graham is not the power broker here.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham kind of attacks
It's
himself,
McConnell.
but McConnell needs to
So are
go
they
down.
supporting Amy McGrath? I haven't seen that either.
I Not that I know of.
And that's what they should be doing. If they're really with us, that's where their money should be going.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I want Mitch in there even as minority leader. He needs to go.
Oh, I mean, uh,
Mm,
the level of contempt I have for that son of a bitch is I don't have the words to describe it.
I know. I am
Um,
so 1,000% with you. He's evil.
yes, but as differentiated from Trump's brand of evil,
Right.
um, McConnell's is far more calculated
Hmm.
and conscious. This is breathing for Trump. He doesn't know any other way.
He only knows like 5 notes on the piano. Mitch, however, can play a concerto.
Yeah,
Scary.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
So,
he was there. He was there when people talked to each other and people compromised,
mhm.
and he has helped pull it to the place where they don't compromise. They don't care if they lie, cheat, steal. The level of hypocrisy doesn't bother him. And, you know,
Nothing bothers him. It's just like he, he's off the charts evil, that dude. I don't think he has a soul.
uh, probably not. Or if he did, he sold it to the Russians a while back.
Yeah,
So,
some time ago. I mean, that's the other thing, is follow the freaking money there. How
yeah,
did he make those millions being a senator?
he was not a millionaire when he was
Mm-mm,
elected to the Senate. So,
mm-mm.
how is it, other than the deals his wife has gotten, has he become this multi millionaire? Uh, because you don't become a multi millionaire on your senatorials.
Just
Uh,
being in Congress.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, maybe that would get me to run. No, I'm just kidding. No,
But
I don't
but
even care if if that was the pathway to being a millionaire. That's not what drives me in my life. So
you wouldn't be an actor if it did.
yeah, seriously, no, no, that's not the. It's not definitely a road
Yeah.
that
I mean,
paved with gold for
I've
most
got
of us.
friends, and I'm sure you do, who have done very well, uh,
Mhm.
far better than me.
I,
But
I feel very blessed. I've worked a lot from where I've chosen to live,
yeah,
and
exactly.
and that was a conscious choice. I wanted to leave New York when I left, and I know this was an odd choice to come to Santa Fe, but now everybody loves it here and wants to move here.
Yeah,
So they call it Tamalewood. I was a groundbreaker from way back.
Hollywood. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. And well, now nobody's working. So, I mean, well, very little. There's little bits of work popping up here and there, but
There are little bits of work, and our union, SAG-AFTRA, has put into place safety protocols that are probably as good as anybody's doing at the moment,
mhm.
and I still don't trust them. I mean,
It's funny you say that. I was like, yeah, and you get a couple of crew people that just don't. I mean, the thing is that there's more to this disease that we don't know, and that's what we're finding out,
yeah,
and so I'm nervous. It makes me nervous. I don't know. I will be selective, God willing, should I book anything.
yeah.
What that set's gonna, what they're implementing, and I don't
I
know.
I'm
Cold and flu season is upon us. So
yeah, I figure at the very least until next spring, uh,
yeah,
I'm out of it. I went to get a flu shot yesterday, I think it was.
I'm gonna go
I
next week.
I've never had a flu shot.
Me neither.
And when I got there, the person said, "Well, you're 65, so the regular flu shot isn't even recommended for you." I said,
What?
"Yeah, I've gone
What is?
beyond. They have something that's more potent, so I got a more potent variety of flu shot."
Oh, so they're recommending something more potent for over 65 people?
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Did they tell you to get the pneumonia shot too?
no, nothing was said about a pneumonia shot.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious about all of it right now, only because like I never take anything. I've never gotten any of those shots, but I don't want to end up, if I get sick, to have to go to an urgent care or any place else like that in the middle of COVID. I just figure I'm going to
Oh,
hedge my bets and
or
not,
worse than that, to an ER.
or an ER, exactly. So
Yeah,
I'm like, I know, I'm just going to take it this year and hope for the best.
it's all we can do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
frightening.
because our country is not united in science, let's just say. And so we're not getting
What
an
was that word?
across
Science?
remember science, an across the board response, like where most people are behaving in the same manner to try and combat the disease and get it under control. If we don't have that, then you're out there with, two or three nut bags and oh well.
Oh, let me tell you, I was driving uh, downtown where I live the other day, and they'd closed off most of downtown. They were having a street fair.
What?
They had a street fair. People were there, sans masks, no social distancing whatsoever.
Wow.
And I'm
Pretending
sitting
life is just back to normal because somebody said it was?
there because this is a tourist area, and they knew that if they shut down for the entire season, you know, tons of
Hey,
money.
I live in Santa Fe. It's one of the biggest tourist places on the planet.
Yeah.
We had nothing this year. No Indian market, no folk art market, no opera. We did nothing this year.
Well, believe me, when I saw that, I was like, get me the fuck out of here now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come home and sequester. I don't want
Get my
my
little cup of hot toddy and
out.
stay.
Yeah, really, because it's frightening. Now, since we did do a little bit of a pivot from politics into the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
I mean, let's do a little bit of that so people know that you're not just
A
the
political
host of a
junkie.
not just the host of a cooking show or a political, rabble rouser. You are a bona fide actor person.
I am.
You're one of the few people who went from uh help me
Oh, Breaking Bad to
from
Better Call
Breaking
Saul.
Bad
Yeah.
to Better Call Saul. What were
Hmm.
there, three of you who made that transition?
I think there was a very few people who did that transition. I got very lucky. That's all I can say.
I was reading, and they said it was like three or four people
Yeah,
got to go from one show to the other, and you were one of those people.
I know. I was very lucky. Very
Yeah.
lucky.
And
I was shocked, frankly, when they said that was going to happen. I was at Sundance with another film and met up with Bob Odenkirk, and it was before Better Call Saul was filming, but he was getting ready to come to New
right.
Mexico to film it. So we met and chatted and stuff, um, and he said, "Oh, I'll be happy to take your stuff in if you want me to." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, right. So I got an audition, and then my agent called me back and said, "No, no, 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 you can't. They're only having people go back as the character that they were. And I thought, who's going to have Fran the waitress back? I mean, that's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, well, boom,
And then I
Fran the
was really
waitress comes
lucky.
back.
Yeah, it was, not a huge storyline, but definitely there between me and Mike. And I have to say, as an actor, I had that in my mind at my very first audition for that part, back in Breaking Bad. And that was in my mind when I auditioned, that they had a long time relationship, that I wasn't just a waitress that walked up to the table and, said, "Hey, how you doing?" and didn't have any sense of who he was or feeling for who he was. I had a real story all laid out in my mind, and apparently they saw it. So
You did your homework as an actor.
I did.
Ah,
That's what we do. So it worked, and it doesn't always, but that time it did, and so I was really lucky to be able to go back, on that set. It's a great set. I know they've got it on hold now. I don't know if the next season is going to shoot
yeah, you said they
or
broke
when.
down the set. So
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. I
yeah,
think, a lot of things are up in the air.
yeah. Hey, listen, my staying in this country is up in the air because
Yeah. I know. What do we have? 27 days? I don't know.
yeah. Well, I've got my ballot upstairs, and I'm sitting there going,
Oh, you
okay,
got yours already?
oh yeah, I got my ballot, but
Good.
there are
We should be getting ours over the next couple days.
there are judgeships and
Hmm.
local things that they don't tell you what party who's with. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
research online. I spent like 2 hours online this morning trying to figure out, okay, what's the Democratic position on this person, this ballot question, that ballot
Mhm.
question. Um, and I tried to go to the Democratic headquarters this afternoon to get some help. Unfortunately, they have rather staggered hours, so now I have to wait till 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to go.
Yeah.
But
But it's worth it. It's worth knowing what you're voting for. And then, as you become informed, then you'll be able to inform other people in your area,
oh,
you
exactly.
know, and that's super important. Those issues can be really important in your community. So,
Yeah.
um, I think that's something that we should change. I think a lot of communities are like that. They don't tell you what party affiliation a judge is for. And it's just weird that we vote for judges in the first place. But if you're gonna vote, you might as well know where they stand.
Even the Board of Education people, you
Hmm.
know, um, I can read their bios and whatever, but they're all very careful about not stating what party. Like I found one person, and only reason I know what party they're from is because they had a big Biden Harris poster in their picture. So I said, okay, well
Okay.
I can vote for this person because obviously, um,
Yeah, the tendency.
yeah. Of course,
No, we don't
now
know
watch
how
a bunch of
everybody's going to be,
Republicans
but
go put those signs up so they'll sucker Democrats, but
oh, geez.
yeah, that's thinking about the positives here. Um, while we're talking about acting, let's also mention your one woman show, which
Oh, yeah.
kind of
That
got
was
put on
on its way
hold.
to London when the COVID hit.
Yeah, that would
Oh,
have
boy.
killed me. That would have killed me.
Oh, it was sad. It definitely was sad. But
But
it'll happen. Yes. So my one woman show is called The Meatball Chronicles, and it's possible that we may film it at some point. So it's not totally gone. But I'm working on a few other projects right now. So um, everything, one thing leads to another, and people you meet, you never know. So I'm not totally put that one down, but it was doing quite well. I toured it across the country, and then it was about ready to make its European debut, and row.
yeah, don't you just hate when that happens?
Yeah.
You work so hard. I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of work, I have to say. There aren't, I don't know, I don't have an agent that booked me. So it was just me, myself, and I booked myself.
Oh God, I hate that.
And I was
Mm.
about, I mean, yeah, my this year was supposed to be Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, and I was just about to go to the New Orleans Food Festival and
Oh
perform there
man.
for the food festival, and then had London after that, and it was all gone. Every single performance I had lined up, gone.
Oh God, that's heartbreaking.
It sucked.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of all the kids who were like making their Broadway debuts in
Yeah,
things
I
that
know,
ended up
right?
closing. Yeah, my friend Mike, who uh, was a Hollywood screenwriter and television writer producer, moved back to New York so he could write musicals and plays. And he's got 3 musicals he has completed, and they're doing some Zoom, readings and sing-alongs of it. But can you imagine having a backlog of that kind of work that just sits there and you don't know when you're going to be able to do anything?
Well, yeah, I have to say though, I just on the positive note, I've been saying this. I said this before COVID hit, but I think COVID is going to actually amplify my thought, which is I think people were sick of this anyway.
Oh God.
And, like that kind of relationship was getting tiring. And now we're all in tiny boxes. Like that's the extent of our world and our phones and our
You
digital
mean like
everything.
this kind of
That,
box?
yeah, that by the time, we're able to get through this, I think people are going to be starved for live performance, whether that's musical or theatrical. And
I hope so.
I really believe that interaction that you can only get in live performance is going to make a big comeback. I really do.
Oh, I hope so, because
I
I'm
hope we're
really
alive to see
dying.
it.
I want to get back on the stage or at
Hmm.
least direct something. So I'm really chafing at the bit. Um,
Yeah, no, I miss it for sure. There's nothing like that, where you have that live interaction between people. And
but
there isn't. And that's why I think it's going to come back because we're tired. And I don't think this lockdown is going to be over. I mean, we have Mr. Typhoid Trump super spreading it around through now the military as of today.
I think I called it. He's experimenting his herd immunity thing at the White House, and it's
Hmm.
not going real well.
And it's
So,
not, no, I don't think everyone's real happy with that idea.
no,
You know what? I did not know that the White House was hermetically sealed. Did you?
yes.
That was surprising to me. Well, and that explains why people are getting sick in there.
Yeah,
Hello.
exactly, because the airflow is right. Ooh, here we
Yeah.
are.
Like I heard today, two of the people that work there got it, and they never were even close to him. But it
I
doesn't
heard the
matter.
same thing. Yeah. No, because what happens is one person gives it to the next person, to the next person, and it starts to spread around because for some reason they don't understand or care about science and
Yeah.
how these things magnify and
Duh.
grow. It's a major league duh.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't understand any of it. Uh,
Oh man, that though I do look at it and think like from a macro perspective, we were blessed to have this happen in some ways because it has enabled us to see in a glaring light the problems that many of us have been screaming about but weren't obvious enough for people to see. Like when we were talking about getting Obamacare way back at the beginning, there were many of us, I used to say, working at a job where your health care is located is like being an indentured servant. You cannot leave your job
yeah.
because if you leave your job and because we had pre-existing conditions, then you lose your
Mm.
insurance. And if you were unfortunate enough to have a pre-existing condition, you could never leave your job. So now that people are losing their insurance because they're losing their jobs, That has become a glaringly obvious problem.
Yes, it has.
And so I think that's just one example of many ways that COVID has shown a light on the problems that many of us were trying to highlight before, but had a hard time getting people to see.
Yeah.
So I do think we're going to have a lot of reform to do, but it's going to be a lot easier because people are awake to it now.
And I hope they remain awake after this, because
Me too.
you said it at the beginning. This is just the beginning.
Hmm.
Getting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris elected, getting a Democratic Senate, maintaining a Democratic House, lets us start what we have to do.
Right.
But there's a shitload of work that needs to be done.
And it
And
can't, I don't know if you can, although Nancy Pelosi was pretty skilled when she was, when she had both houses of Congress, at the beginning of Obama's administration, they passed a record number of bills. So
I have a
I'm
great deal of
excited she's got
respect
her
for
feet
her.
wet. Hmm?
I have a great deal of respect for Speaker
Hmm.
Pelosi. I have very little respect for Chuck Schumer. Um,
Yeah.
I remember when he was a New York City congressman, and he was a fighting liberal, kind of like Ed Koch was way back when.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then something happened, and he, okay, he became a senator, and now he's the Senate Minority Leader, and I think he's
He needs
pathetic.
more fight in him. I don't know if he seemed like it the other day that when he said no options are off the table, I'm assuming he means expanding the Supreme Court,
Oh
but
yeah, but again, it doesn't happen until we have a majority.
right.
Um,
Right. And we don't need to lay all our cards on the table, but what does need to happen is us. We need to speak up. And this is an interesting thing I told my friend, because a lot of times people will say, well, unless you're in their zip code, they don't think you're important because you're not really a constituent. And my answer to that is, yes, I am. You pass laws that affect me when you're at the
mhm.
United States Senate or House of Representatives level. You
Yep.
pass laws that affect the entire country. And me, I phone bank and text bank and give money to candidates across this country. So don't piss me off.
I love it. What was
I
there?
am your constituent once you go to the United States Congress.
Yep,
And that's what
absolutely.
I encourage everyone to say when they call.
There was a bunch of whining going down in Florida, I guess, from Twitler's people, because Mike Bloomberg was spending tens of millions of dollars in Florida, and oh my God, they just couldn't take. It's okay when the Kochs do it for them,
Right.
or
Or the Mercers. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
any of their billionaires, that's fine. But a Democratic billionaire, and they can't even call him a foreigner like they do with Soros. So
Right. Hmm.
it's, oh my God.
Well, this is exciting. That's what I keep telling myself. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is the kind of excitement that leads to heart attacks. I don't,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't want to live in exciting
Well,
times. I
look,
want to
look,
live in
look.
nice,
Oh,
bland.
my stuff's never far from me either. Look, my Ruth Bader Ginsburg candle, my
Aw.
Kamala candle, my Joe candle.
Oh, I want a Mamala candle.
That's it. I've got Saint Kamala of the people.
Oh, that's great. Where'd you get that?
A friend of mine brought that to me. My friend Lisa, who I do the show with, made me the Ruth Bader Ginsburg one. She also made me a Nancy Pelosi one, and I have candles all over the place. So it's not like voodoo or some kind of witchcraft is out of the realm. I'm like, I'll take any help I can get.
I like it. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I have my show chicken, my rubber chicken.
okay. Well, okay. Then let's go to the Corona Kitchen, or come
Okay.
full circle to Corona Kitchen.
Yeah. We're very excited. We had our first cook along the other day, which was stupid fun. It was
You were
really
telling
fun.
me about that, but I don't remember exactly what you did.
Well, what happened was people bought tickets and then they got the grocery list. And then we sent them a Zoom link, which was different than what we normally broadcast our show on. So it was private. And so it was like getting a private cooking lesson. We all cooked together. We hung out. We laughed our butts off. It was so much fun.
Oh,
So I instructed everyone in how to make fried chicken sandwiches and oven fried Parmesan garlic French fries.
wow.
And it was great.
I have noticed that a lot of this stuff you guys cook is not exactly lightweight fare.
No. It's comfort food, and we're quite upfront about that.
Yeah.
It's comfort food.
I'm trying to remember, what was it with Frangela? You was it?
Oh, Frangela made chili.
That's a chili.
She made chili. The guests don't always cook. Bob Seska didn't cook, so I made him ravioli because we share an Italian
Bob
background.
didn't cook.
He didn't cook. Bob didn't cook, and neither did Buzz Burbank. So I made Buzz Burbank fried dough pizza.
Okay, well, I told you this a while back, but my vegetarian lasagna is to die for.
Yum.
I make a great fettuccine Alfredo, and
Oh
I
boy.
and my Szechuan chicken, or as my daughter called it, Saskatchewan chicken,
I
because you
did
couldn't
that when I
say
was a kid
Szechuan.
too. I had to die laughing when you said that because
Yeah.
I did that too. I
So in the
remember
house we call it
laughing.
Saskatchewan
Yeah,
chicken, but
that's right.
oh
It's the Canadian chicken.
yeah, really, but it's really good.
Mm.
I don't cook a lot of things, but the things I cook
It
are
doesn't matter. Yeah, no.
really.
Well, you'll have to come on and cook and teach everyone how to make Saskatchewan chicken.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Would be so much fun.
It is. It's super fun. Yeah, we have a great group of people. We have super fans that follow us all the time, and
Yeah, you become something of a YouTube sensation.
it's so funny. And people know our like little quirks. Like Lisa doesn't measure, and I'm an avid measurer. And I have all kinds of stuff in my freezer. There have been many stories about what's been in my freezer.
I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah. Well, yes, we've told a few stories about the things that have ended up in my freezer.
As
So
long as
yeah,
it's not a body or two, then we're okay.
yeah. Okay.
Wait a minute. The way you said that, it sounded like, well,
Alrighty then.
depends whose body, I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. The interesting thing I think that's different than having done like a regular cooking show on, say, the Food Network or something like that, is that we are actively engaged with our audience all the time. You know, we talk to them. We have conversations while the show is going on. So they know our quirky stuff in our own family life, in our kitchens, how we are with each other. And so it's more like an extended family that's happened with our audience members. So,
Which sounds like especially now, especially right now, that kind of
right.
thing is phenomenal because people need
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've heard from a lot of people of, like right in the beginning, especially when people were by themselves and with people who live alone, we heard from a number of people that said it gave them structure to their day to know that they were going to watch our show in the afternoon and that it gave them a place of comfort and just to take them away from the events of the day and to be engaged with other people. And it's been a very helpful thing for a lot of people. So I'm really grateful for that aspect of the show working, just more than grounding myself and Lisa, but it's grounded a lot of people.
Well, I mean, it's like this show for me. It's an outlet to take what you do and at least have some form of it,
Mm-hmm.
in public. I
Yeah.
mean, we're actors. We need an audience. And however we get it, we get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're people too, I think. So
yes, we are. We're
we
people.
enjoy that. Yeah. That was fun. Dana Goldberg was really funny. She's Oh, she was on too. Have you had her on your show yet?
I just asked Dana the other day if she do, because she told me
She's
she
so
loved.
lovely.
I did you hear any of the stuff that's gone on since the last Sexy Liberal? Um, I've had at the time we were having probably one of the most disastrous weeks ever, in terms of politics, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
everything. I was having one of the best weeks I've had in ages. First,
So funny.
first I got to talk to Steph,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
you know,
cool.
and the first thing she said when, we came on and saw each other was she goes, "I know you." And I'm like, "She does?" And then, we're talking and she does. She's actually following what I'm doing.
Oh,
And
that's
then
great.
and then from there, then I got a response from Frangela, saying,
Oh,
"Hey,
they're
we
so great.
we love you." And I'm like,
What?
"You mean you know I exist? Wow, that's." And they said, "You want to do tape a show on the 12th?" And I said, "I will tape a show at 3 o'clock in the morning if that works for you too."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, they were fun.
that was wrapped up on Saturday with Carl Frisch's thing with Dana,
Yeah, yeah.
where I came on and Dana's like, "Yoni, you are actually one of the few people who looks the same in your picture as you do in real life. I love
That's so
your
funny.
stuff." And
She's great.
I'm like, I had no idea any of these people really knew I existed,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
were actually paying attention to some of the things I write or post. And um, so I said to Dana, I said, "That's really great. If you love me, come on my show." You
Yeah,
know,
she will. She's awesome.
oh yeah, I don't have much doubt. She was so sweet,
Yeah, very generous. Everybody is. I
and
mean, she's
it's
got a great
amazing.
crowd of people around her.
It's really, really amazing
Yeah,
how,
Carl was on. He made sous vide steak
wow. Carl's
and
another one
roasted
who
Brussels sprouts.
who's said he'd come on the show. He wanted me to
Yeah,
wait till
he's great.
September, mid-September, to talk to him about it because he was busy. But I
Yeah, he'll
figured,
do it.
you know,
Yeah, he was definitely, he's got a schedule. Like he's one of the working people.
yeah, one of the few of us.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. So what we have to do is, I guess, survive another month and pray that we wake
Just
up.
a few more weeks, and then we have that period between November 4th and January 3rd when the new Congress gets sworn in.
Yep.
That's the scary part of the rough waters we're in.
I'm not scared about that so long as we take back the White House and the Senate, because any
No, no,
damage.
we've got to get state legislatures. So in case this gets to the electors, we have enough state legislatures because right now we don't.
Well, there's also, though, the take a lesson from the other side and start doing executive orders. And
Yeah, yeah.
they ran roughshod over us for 4 years. Okay, fine, we're going to run roughshod over you in a way that's going to benefit people as opposed to benefiting millionaires and billionaires, and see how that goes over.
We're gonna have to see how it plays out.
Oh yeah. By the way, one thing, you called the Affordable Care Act Obamacare, and I'm telling everybody, every Democrat I speak to, don't call it Obamacare, because the racists. I mean, you know how many people don't even know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the exact same thing?
Oh, I know. It's just it's cray cray.
It's part of the racism. And if the black guy did it, it's got to be bad. But that
Right.
Affordable Care Act really helps me. So hey,
Yeah.
so I just, I'm like, let's not give them any ammunition.
No, it's probably true. We shouldn't. But, I would think at this point, most people know, but still. I agree. We should cover all bases, and if that's the thing that people are going to hang their, shingle onto and say, "Oh my God, I can't because the black guy did it."
Right. And,
Okay,
and
never mind.
and they do. It's frightening, but they do.
Yeah.
Um, I do have to say, I am thrilled at the hashtag Proud Boys. Uh, you heard about this, right?
Yes, isn't that the best?
Uh,
I'm like,
I
yes, start
love
taking
those
the
guys.
language back.
You go hashtag Proud Boys, and look what you get.
Oh my God, it is the funniest takeover of a word ever.
It is gorgeous. And for anybody in the audience who doesn't know, um, it was a bunch of gay
The
guys
best.
took over the Proud Boys
I didn't.
hashtag.
Did it start with George Takei?
I think it did. I think it did.
I think it
And
did. That's my understanding. That he
and
was the one who started this.
I love him. I love him. He is so smart
He's
and so
brilliant.
good. And that was just beyond gorgeous. And I just want to see these
That
white
was just
supremacist
fucking
fucks
fabulous.
going,
And to have us,
no!
like there's so many ways in which we need to take back our language because they've taken it like pro-life. How are
Oh,
you pro-life if you put kids in cages
yeah.
and you believe in the death penalty? I mean, there's so many.
Or once they're born, you don't want them to get any care, any real education, food. That you don't give a shit about. You just want them to be born.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's you're pro-fetus.
exactly. It has nothing to do with pro-life. And also, though, we talk about messaging. Okay, you're pro-abortion. No, I'm not pro-abortion. I don't know anybody who's really
Nobody's
pro-abortion.
pro-abortion. We're pro-choice.
Pro-choice, exactly. But they use it again. They try to message it in a way that makes us look like cold-blooded, killers.
Well, here's the interesting thing about languaging. I'm always curious about this when they say, well, you have to give the unborn a voice. And I'm like, all right, so if you're going to like play ventriloquist with the baby in there, like, how do you know the baby wants to be born to these people? Like, why do you think the answer is always yes, I would like to be on planet Earth? Maybe that's not true. So stop pretending that you're the voice of the unborn and the voice always says yes, because that's cray cray.
I like that one. I had a friend who used to say, "You think that the child growing in me is a life? Okay, take it out. Let's see if it lives." That was
There you
that was
go.
her that was her simplistic methodology, but I thought, well, that's rather effective, you know.
Well, the truth is they only got on. I mean, I think there was a line in this, I don't know if it was sometime in the 60s. Somebody told me this recently where prior to that, where they took on the issue of abortion and calling it abortion, instead of reproductive care, or, just deciding, that most people wanted to be able to make that choice. And when they were trying to separate, people and pull them out along religious lines, that's when they started, pulling it toward a religious ideology
Yeah,
instead of a scientific ideology, like it's my
except
bodily function.
except and I mean, I know you know this, but like everything else they try to make about religion,
Yep,
show me in the Bible, New Testament or
exactly.
Old, where they talk about abortion. Um, and for some of the other topics they want, I love how the faux fundamentalist Christians love to go back to the New Testament or the Old Testament. Screw what Jesus said. We're going to go back to the Old Testament, to which I would paraphrase the great Lewis Black, who said basically, um, Christians, do us a favor, keep your hands off our book because you
Just
don't get
be
it.
fucking quiet.
It's like you don't get it, and see, one of the things you have to understand that Jews know is bullshit. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of it in the Old Testament. So please don't try to interpret it because you can't.
Well, I always tell Sue, as in Sue in Rockville, that I am I'm a frustrated wannabe redheaded Jew.
Well, I've got two redheaded Jewesses upstairs. I was
Oh,
born a redhead. Um, it changed color, obviously, but I was born red. So a bunch of ginger Jews here.
I
Um,
love ginger Jews. I want to be a ginger Jew in my next life.
well, let me write that down, and I will.
Okay, please put it in the queue.
It'll all right. Debrianna, next life.
Ginger Jew. See, that already works for me in Corona Kitchen.
It kind of does. Well, what are we gonna do?
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm going to encourage everybody to do a couple things. One is we're getting close, so there's a couple of organizations I'd like to remind you about. One is the one that Stephanie Miller's promoting, Swing Left, or she's working with them. They will take your donation to help candidates that are in swing races. They also, I think it's their spinoff group is lastweekends.org, which is helping people who want to volunteer, text banking, phone banking, writing postcards to swing voters, all that stuff. They've got, it's not the last weekend we're focused on anymore. It's the weekends. We're all ramping up now because of trying to stay safe during COVID. So I'd encourage that. And also, are you going to the Spinal Tap reunion?
I didn't hear about it until last night, but
Oh, I'm so excited. Spinal Tap reunion's October 14th. It's to benefit the Pennsylvania Democrats.
yeah, I can't really resist a Spinal Tap reunion. I mean, who
The
could?
Princess Bride one was awesome.
I thought that the Princess Bride one was beyond spectacular.
Yeah.
I loved
It's the
watching
same
Mandy
group, Patton
Patinkin.
Oswald and Rob Reiner. It's the same group. And we need money to flow into Pennsylvania Democrats because that legislature, the GOP legislature in Pennsylvania, is trying to
Oh yeah.
really mess the election up.
Well, I mean, even with a Democratic governor, Wisconsin was still playing games, and that's why the
Yeah, and they
Princess
are for
Bride.
sure in Pennsylvania too. So we need to help them out, and that's a fun way to do it. So
Do you have the
do what you
information?
can
Do you have the information handy by any chance
for
for the Spinal
for
Tap reunion?
Spinal Tap. No, but I'm guessing if you just Google Spinal Tap reunion Pennsylvania Democrats, you will find it.
I was going to let you promo it, but now I'll have to look it up and promo it
I'm
after
sorry,
you're
I don't
done.
think there's like there's not like a URL that's easy to remember like lastweekends.org that I know of. It was
Okay.
a long URL, so
Well, I will find it for later in the show.
and
So,
put it in the descript.
yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Because what could be better? Oh, wait. A fifth sexy liberal show.
Oh wait, one's coming.
Yes. Stephanie Miller's fifth sexy liberal virtual tour with Frangela and Hal Sparks and John Fugelsang.
Oh, so
Man,
exciting.
we are giving these guys commercials, but they're
Yeah,
also,
I'm going. Are you?
of course, I'm going.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm very excited to go. It's hilarious. And we're
I,
not sure if Saturday Night Live didn't rip them off.
uh, well, Jim Carrey's Joe Biden was, come on, that was
Yeah.
spectacular. Um,
But the punching out scene.
yeah,
We
yeah.
saw that somewhere before.
I can't think of where that might have been.
Hmm.
It's amazing how many times Steph's stuff has been ripped off by people.
Well, my husband's a jeweler and people have ripped him off, and he always says that's the best form of flattery.
God, that's what he's a jeweler and ripped off and says that. That's.
He's generous.
I was gonna say I'd kick the living shit out of someone who did that to me.
Yeah, you can't though. So,
Yeah. Well, I just have a list going. Okay,
yeah, I know, right?
baseball bat to the knees for this one, and
Right.
I
Well,
remember.
thank you so much, my friend. I am so happy to have spent some time with you today. It made me happy.
Oh, good. I'm glad being here could
Yeah.
make you
And
happy.
you'll come on and cook Szechuan chicken, and my
I
chicken
will.
won't even get mad.
You tell me when, I will
All
be
right.
there. I will get
Awesome.
the ingredients and
Will
cook.
do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my friend Debrianna Mansini, actress, activist, co-host of Corona Kitchen, and the girl who has a rubber chicken handy. What more could you ask?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Bye, my love.
Bye. Again, please remember you can catch Debrianna's show, Corona Kitchen, on YouTube. Just type in Corona Kitchen and you will find the show, and it's well worth the find. So thank you, Debrianna. And she may be one of the few people I know who is as opinionated and fiery in her opinions as I am. Um, let's now go from that to the reason I waited until today to finish taping the show. And that is I wanted to get in the quote unquote debate between uh, Senator Kamala Harris and uh, mother's boy, little white-headed Mikey Pence. I've been picking an asshole of the week to talk about every week, but I've come to realize that we are at the point where having an asshole of the week is just, I mean, it's like choosing a Darwin Award winner. How do you do it? There are just so many of them, and every hour of every day brings a new one. So, you know what? We're just going to consider the entire Republican Party, Twitler, Pence, all of them assholes of the decade. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about last night's debate because it bears mentioning. Mikey Pence, for the first time in I don't know how long, came out from under the overly large shadow of his boss to prove that he is every bit as vile a liar and scumbag as Mr. Twitler is. Uh, he had one job and one job only that became patently obvious about 3 minutes into the debate. He was not there to answer questions and debate. He was there to interrupt, to try to get a rise out of Senator Harris, to show that women are temperamental and can't handle, you know, people like him. So instead, he talked over her. He talked over the moderator, who was an embarrassment. I mean, she made Chris Wallace look good. Um, you know, oh, Mr. Vice President, thank you, Mr. Vice President, thank you, Mr. Vice President, thank you, Mr. Vice President. But not once did she stop him talking over Senator Harris or inventing his own questions to ask her, which he then answered himself while not letting Senator Harris get a word in edgewise. And Senator Harris, being the person she is, did not scream. She didn't even say, "Shut the fuck up," which she had every right to do, since A, the moderator wasn't doing anything about it, and Pence was being an obnoxious prick. No, because if she had done that, they would have called her a bitch or any of the other misogynistic terms they like to use for women who actually stand up for themselves and show strength. No, Senator Harris showed strength by smiling, trying to answer, and to tell truth versus the lies that Pence was tossing out throughout the entire event. Me, I had to take 2 Valium, a very large drink, and let my wife drag me away from the television set before I threw something through the screen because I was so livid watching this shit show. And the beauty of it is, aside from the fact that without having to do a lot, Senator Harris made mincemeat of that closeted fuck. The second most interesting part of the debate was the fly that landed on Whitey's head. Uh, it was a thing of beauty, and nobody could stop talking about it today. There was far more to talk about regarding the fly than there was anything Pence had to say. And thanks to the current resident of the vice presidential mansion, Senator Harris was able to raise $15 million in 12 hours for her and Vice President Biden's campaign. So it was well worth it, even if it did make me insane, and probably a lot of you as well. Uh, we are living in interesting times. I would like to stop living in interesting times and just go back to normal times with normal complaints. Uh, that isn't where we are. Um, what Trump is now livid because the Justice Department, which he calls his Justice Department, it's not the People's Justice Department, it's Trump's Justice Department, is not filing charges or indicting former President Barack Obama or former Secretary Hillary Clinton for God knows what. I have no idea what he wants them indicted for, but, you know, he's a psycho, so what the fuck? In any event, I have nothing to add to this because you all know, you all saw for yourselves what's going on. And it's just bizarre. And that's all I can say because, I don't usually get speechless, but in this case, I'm speechless. So, for those of you who are regulars to the show, I am really glad you've come back. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Libsyn, or on my YouTube channel, where you can watch the video of this show and see me in all my glory going bananas. I also, before I go, I want to bring up something that I did talk about on one of my first broadcasts, but the question keeps arising, so I will address it now. My name, Yoni. People like to call it Yanni or all sorts of varieties of something beyond what it is. It's Yoni. Yoni is simply the Hebrew diminutive for Johnny, short for my birth name, Jonathan. I am Jonathan. But instead of being called Johnny, my friends and loved ones call me Yoni. That's it. It's simply that. And yes, for those of you who go, do you know what that means in Greek and Sanskrit? Ho, 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 ho. Yes, I know what it means in Greek and Sanskrit. However, that's not its meaning when it comes to my name. I am not the only Yoni on the planet. Again, that could be taken a number of ways if you do know the Sanskrit or Greek meanings for Yoni. So never mind. Just know that I am Yoni. I also want to let you know that if you would like to get in contact with me directly, I now have an email address for the show. It is according to Yoni, YONI, at gmail.com. So if you want to Send me praise, send me non-praise, ask questions. By all means, feel free to email me. Hopefully at some point I will manage to get back to you. And please join me for my next show, because I am very, very excited to have two more people I've managed to purloin from the great Stephanie Miller's show. Those people being the wonderful Angela V. Shelton and her partner in crime, Frances Collier, better known to many of you as the comedy duo Frangela. They are very, very funny women. They are very, very smart, progressive members of the resistance. So join me and Frangela next week. And other than that, stay safe, stay sane if you possibly can. I don't know that I'll be sane by next week, but if you can, at least someone here will be. And that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. See you next week.